everybody, it's me, MIrrorcard Neko.
And Aldnoah.
And today we're bringing you a new show for the channel. What we're calling the playlist itself is going to be called We've Never Seen, but the episodes themselves will be titled either Aldnoah's Never Seen or MIrrorcard Neko has Never Seen. So for this show's format, one of us is going to pick something that we've seen before, whether it be an anime, a TV show, an anime movie, or live action movie. Anything's on the table with this. But the catch is that the other person has to have never seen it before.
To put it short and simple, it's like a reaction video. The only major difference is that one person is going to know what everything is, or at least a good majority of what the actual content is, while the other person has no idea what the hell is going on and is kind of going in blind.
It's also so the person who has seen the show or the anime or etc. can compare their thoughts that they had from back long ago when they watched it to their post conceptions of the show after they've watched it. And then you get a fresh new take on someone who's never seen it before. This idea kind of came about when, was it about a year ago, we watched Avatar The Last Airbender?
Yeah.
He had never seen Avatar The Last Airbender before, not until last year.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do a vlog of that, of every episode as we watched, but after a certain point, we just kind of went into it without thinking about it. It wasn't until like a few episodes in where I was kind of like, darn, I wish I could have done something with this, because that show was really interesting.
That
To
and
hear,
Korra too, but
yeah.
you never saw Korra, did you?
No, I saw Korra before we watched it. I
Okay.
saw Avatar: The Last Airbender before we watched it.
Okay.
So at that point, it was kind of too late. We didn't really have a structure for it. But this is kind of where the birth of this idea came from. And just, there was a lot that I have seen that he's never seen.
And vice versa.
I'm sure he's going to probably pick a lot more like live action movies and such.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to be showing him, and probably stuff from his nostalgia. And then probably for me, it's going to be probably anime he's never seen, anime movies he's never seen, and stuff from my nostalgia as well. So that's just kind of the basic purpose of the show, or however we want to call this.
This reaction video, let's just say, for the sake of argument.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is a lot more interesting than having somebody sit in front of a camera and actually react to it live. We react to it after watching it completely and just give our thoughts and opinions on it.
Yeah, so basically how we're going to format this show, before we start watching the show itself, either me or Aldnoah is give a list to the other person of stuff that they haven't seen before, or stuff that we think they haven't seen before. And then they're going to just say, yes, haven't seen that, haven't seen that, haven't seen that. And then one day, either we'll take turns or we'll go a few at a time. That person is going to take an item from the list and say that we're going to sit down and do this. And then from there is going to go over a little bit of their past experience with the movie and show. And then the person who's never seen it before is going to talk about
their experience with either the actual franchise in question or if they've actually heard about it in general beforehand, but never actually gotten a chance to watch it yet.
exactly. So I know this one in particular is going to be very interesting for a first episode. Honestly, I know it should be something like a movie or like a live action movie, an animated movie. I know it should be, but I've been dying to want to watch this for a while because I've just seen it come up a lot recently. And just with getting into the Marvel Cinematic Universe as much as I have been, I just wanted to revisit this and I want to see if it's as good as people are claiming that it was. I mean, from what I remember, it was a good show. I don't know if based on what I remember, it's as good as people have said in the past, but let me just read you the description as said on the streaming service we're watching it from. This show features a team as teenagers as they fight for a world that fears and hates them. I purposely left out the title just because, like, reading the descriptions of these things are actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
He's laughing.
I'm laughing because it's funny. I've seen quite a few of the live action X-Men films, like First Class and a few other ones I'm remembering from like the 2010s and whatnot, but I've never actually seen any of the cartoons or anything like before that. So my take on X-Men is that they're technically Marvel, but they're their own separate universe from what I get, or at least from what I understand from the films. So I'm going to be kind of going into this with some context in mind as in terms of what the X-Men actually are, but specifically this version of it, absolutely not. I have never actually seen the cartoon, so.
Okay, for me, I watched this cartoon. I didn't get to finish it because it was at a time when Kids WB was kind of transitioning weirdly near the end. So I watched, I think, at least 3 seasons of this as it was airing. And this is what my introduction to the X-Men. And I can hear some of you in the comments, well, what about the original X-Men series? How come you guys aren't watching that? I have never watched, okay, maybe like 1 or 2 episodes of the original X-Men animated series, but that doesn't count.
So let me ask you this, because I keep seeing this meme a lot. The one with Wolverine and he's lying down in
Oh, that's
bed.
the original
That was the
X-Men.
original? Okay.
That's the original X-Men. That's not this one. And I don't even know the context behind
I don't know the
that
context
scene.
either. I just know that meme has been rolling around for a long time.
Because I know everybody praises that one over this one.
Yeah. But this is the one you technically grew up with, so we're watching
Yeah, this is the one I grew up with. This was my introduction to the X-Men. So as I was watching those live action X-Men movie, my context for the X-Men was this show.
Okay.
So like when I saw Wolverine, Jean, Cyclops, Nightcrawler, I was thinking they were going to be like these characters that I saw. And I mean, I'll get into the disappointment of the movies at a later point.
Yeah.
But like,
I guess that is one other thing. While I've said I've seen the X-Men films, at least some of them, I have actually seen some of the more recent live action films for the like Wolverine and whatnot. So I've seen those before. But again, when it comes to the actual cartoons, I am blind going into this. So I hope there isn't any sort of continuity from the original cartoon going into this, or if it's its own continuity.
I will say this, it is its own continuity.
Oh, thank God.
So you don't need to know anything. So live action X-Men, I saw the first 3. I saw, was it Wolverine or Logan? The one where he's basically gets the claws made out of steel.
I think it's Wolverine. I think that was like the 2009 film, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I saw that one. But again, I saw all these after I watched this one.
I think it was 2009. Otherwise, we'll probably edit it somewhere to
Yeah,
figure that out.
it'll pop up on the screen somewhere what year it was. I saw those. I think I saw, wasn't First Class. It was another one that was like a prequel.
No, that was
No, no, not like where they made them younger and had a different cast. It was one where it was like before, when Magneto and Charles were building the X-Men for the first time. I don't think it was First Class.
I think that was First Class. You know what? We'll probably edit it to prove whether or not we were right or wrong on this. But either way, I'm curious to see where this is gonna go.
So now, this will be the part in the show where we stop the audio, we go watch the whole thing, and then we'll come back to you later with our thoughts on everything.
Yeah.
So, because this is a 4-season show, it's going to take us a while to get here. For you guys, it'll just be a couple seconds.
Yeah, but for us, it's probably going to be at least about a month or 2, depending.
No, probably like a few weeks.
Really?
If we're that invested, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, and we're back after watching the final episode, well, all the episodes leading up to the final episode of X-Men Evolution. But before we go into this, I think this should be obvious, but let me just put it here. Spoiler, 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 all of the spoilers up here. So if you want to watch this yourself without spoilers, just go watch it before hearing our opinions. But for right now, we'll let Aldnoah take the floor first.
Is it putting me on the spot first?
It looked like you had something to say.
No, I've just... Where the hell do I even begin with this? For context, it only took us, 2 weeks to get through?
Well, I would say about a week and a half to finish, and then editing this episode, I'll put down right on screen how long it took to edit. So, would you like to go first?
I insist you go first, because I'm...
Kind of a rushed ending.
I mean, yes... That one's kind of obvious. The entirety of season 4 felt extremely rushed.
There was only 9 episodes in season 4, to be fair. But yes, like I definitely...
That could have easily been 12.
Yeah, I think they could have spread things out more and did a whole lot more with it. But I guess aside from season 4 feeling a bit rushed aside, what did you think of it overall?
Overall, it was a good time. Again, I have context for a lot of the X-Men related stuff, so I kind of knew some things. I was not expecting some of the MCU to kind of clash into it a bit in the ways that it did. Like for Pietro and Wanda to kind of still be like together, but their father being Magneto in this show was kind of weird.
Actually, I think that's how it is in the original comic.
Okay.
So, for context, guys, I watched this show, obviously, before the MCU and WandaVision. But it wasn't until WandaVision where I remembered the show and everything started clicking to me. And when we got to see the past in WandaVision for her, her father being like a nobody, I was like thinking to myself, like, at some point he's gonna be revealed to be Magneto, right? Like,
Right?
I mean, I don't know if the MCU is gonna do that or if it's gonna be alternate version Wanda. We still don't know if Wanda's technically dead or not,
Yeah.
or if she's just only mostly dead.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between mostly dead and all dead.
So I'll say from someone that's watched the series before, I admit season 1 was a little I wouldn't say season 1 was rushed per se. It was missing a lot more emotion than the other seasons gave it
Yeah.
more emotion.
Season 2 and 3 in specific, it gave a lot more emotion, gave a lot more context that season 1 and 4 was kind of lacking in some ways. Like season 1's biggest issue was that it was trying to be too appealing to everyone instead of how do I word this like in a way that makes sense? Like essentially it felt too safe at times with the way how the episodes were playing out in season 1.
I don't know if safe is the right word, but I kind of get where you're coming from with that. It's weird. I grew up with those episodes. I saw up to season 3, and I can confirm that after finally watching this all. So I never saw season 4, but the first episodes all the way up through season 1, something about them feels kind of stiff.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about like the character development, like the animation too. It wasn't until like season 2 where I felt like there was more personality from the characters, and
There was a lot more cohesion and everything in a sense.
there was more comedy
Yes.
after the first season. Like things were actually legit funny.
There were some moments that were honestly funny. And
Like,
it's just like I kind of understand why they did it like that, but at the same time it's like I don't feel like they needed to play it that safe for season 1.
I think they did for just because it was the first season of the show. They wanted everyone to get established into it
Yeah.
before introducing the heavy stuff, because the secret of the X-Men, while it was kind of there
Yeah.
in season 1, it didn't become like a bigger thing until the beginning of season 2.
Right.
And then everything escalated, and it's just, oh boy.
Yeah.
Like you can relate pretty hard to some of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, let me get one thing straight. This isn't going to be like watching like any anime or anything like that. This is still grounded as an American cartoon where they're only showing enough, but they're not going as emotionally deep as anime could.
Yeah.
I liked it, and I liked the ideas that they brought up with it, but again, I was waiting to get like emotionally gripped in, and like,
Did you ever feel like you were emotionally gripped in with this or not really?
well, when Rogue pushed Mystique's statue over the waterfall, I was like, damn.
I was not expecting that.
I was not expecting that either, but I understood it in a way. She's tired of her bullshit, so she just did it. But then the episode later where she's like, I don't even know why I did it, she probably did just do it out of anger and upsetness. But you saw at the end there, Rogue and Kurt were just like, Mystique, listen, we don't believe your bullshit, and I know you don't either, so we're just done with you.
Yeah.
After all that they went through, I'm speaking as like, if I was in Rogue's shoes, I don't think I could ever believe Mystique again after everything Mystique
I wouldn't want
put
to talk
Rogue
to
through.
Mystique at all. For obvious reasons, at
Yeah.
that point. I would just not want to see her at all.
I'm just surprised Kurt, with how upset he was that, the statue was done,
Yeah.
that at the end right there, he was just like, I don't want anything to do with you either.
Yeah.
But I guess I kind of get it. That's another one of those moments where I feel like was rushed.
I feel
Like,
like
I
that because the issue with I don't feel like we had an actual resolution between Kurt and Rogue
No,
for
Kurt,
explaining the fact that because obviously he was pissed off at Rogue for pushing his mother off a cliff essentially.
well, their mother.
Yeah, but still,
I-
if this was spread out by another like 3 episodes and they at least kind of came to a relatively decent resolution for it, then I'd be okay with the way how things ended. But like at the very end, it's like nothing happened between that. To me,
No, I wouldn't say nothing happened. I just feel like that there could have been an episode of them talking about it,
yeah,
and there could have been something. But unfortunately, with this being an American cartoon and a kids' cartoon, like I said before, this aired on Channel 11, so Kids WB. So, unfortunately, I don't think that they could afford to just have an episode where they just sit down and talk, not like an anime where you
No,
could do
not
that.
like that, but like eventually have an episode that leads into that question. Because there were moments in the show where I felt like, given how many episodes there were left, I was concerned there were a lot of plot holes that are just things that weren't going to get resolved in general. Like Spike was a big one that I was kind of questioning whether or not they'd actually resolve his story. And eventually they did, but even then I felt like they rushed it a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, Spike still comes back in the end to
He,
fight and help his aunt.
yeah,
So it's not like he was completely written off, but I kind of get like for having Spike in the intro,
yeah,
and then for season 4 only having him in like 2 episodes.
if that,
It
really,
No,
you
it was
know.
about 2 episodes.
Yeah, but still, it's one of those things that's just like, I don't know if I could agree to all that.
Yeah, I know it's kind of rough, but overall, I would say I enjoyed this. I did enjoy again season 2 more because there was just a lot more comedy and a lot more character moments. Like a few that I'm gonna just name off the top of my head was when Jean loses control of her powers and she's at that party with at Duncan's party
Yeah,
and they're just having this ping pong ball competition and she just gets tired of their shit, just picks up the ball and says, "That's it, we're done here."
yep.
Those two are basically having the
Uh,
equivalent of a
the Dick Metric contest.
pretty much. Then there was another scene where they're gonna have a party inside the mansion, but the other kids have to get Scott and Jean away from it all.
Yeah,
So they set them up so that way they say, "Hey, I want to meet you here and discuss things."
yep,
Break Scott's car so he can't drive away.
yeah,
And then Scott's like halfway down this hill saying like, "I'm going to go call for a what is it? A taxi? No, not a taxi, like a tow."
yeah.
And Jean uses her powers to bring him all the way back to where she's standing to the car. She starts to walk away. She's like, "Are you coming or not?" That was still one of the funniest scenes to me.
Yeah.
You don't know how many times I wish I could just do that to somebody that's just walking away from me. I could
Well,
just pull.
specifically me in particular, because I tend to walk ahead of you a bit too quickly.
Yeah,
Because
well, I wouldn't be that rude. Be like, "Are you coming or what?"
yeah,
I would just be like, "Slow down, please.
yeah,
Slow down." He does walk too fast.
yeah,
And then the other episode I appreciated was the one with Scott and his brother.
yeah,
Not where he was first introduced with his brother. I felt like that was missing some emotion there.
yeah,
But the
definitely.
one where they're surviving the storm together, I have to admit that was a really nice
That
character
that honestly
development.
makes up for the for the introduction of his brother. Honestly,
Yeah, it was a nice character moment, I have to say. I mean, it was stupid of his brother to go out in a storm to try to surf, first of all.
yeah,
But the fact that, they were just trying to survive it together. He talked about changing his last name back to Summers just so they could feel closer as brothers again. And
yeah.
it was a good, tender moment, and I was happy about.
It was honestly good.
I would say overall the show's pretty good overall, but I admit that the ending, I could almost swear that ending they had more planned.
They probably did, but they were probably on a time crunch. They probably given only those 9 episodes to make the whole apocalypse thing go off and be coherent about it. So their only way to actually sit there and do it without dragging it out was to cram it all in the last 2 episodes of the show, which I still don't agree with. I feel like it could have easily been a 3-parter. I personally feel like there was a lot of filler toward the end, but that's just me. Like that episode with Gambit, there was no need for that episode, I feel like personally.
I think that was an episode to show that Rogue was letting go of her torment, or like a you can't really choose your family situation. So I can kind of let that by. I think
Which episode out of season 4 that you remember probably felt fillery? Because I feel like there
hmm,
was at least one episode, and I'm drawing a blank on it.
no, I can't say that one was fillery because it kind of had a nice resolution at the end. Oh, I liked this one in season 4. Even though you could argue that it's kind of filler, but it's not really. The one where the Brotherhood actually start doing some good deeds,
Yeah,
but they end up causing all the good deeds. What I liked about that episode, well, first of all, Wanda's the one that causes the car crash.
the whole train wreck.
Yeah, what I liked about that moment, I mean, I'll talk about Wanda and Pietro in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in just a bit. But what I liked in that moment when they thought Magneto was actually dead, Pietro was just like straight up, look, he was a bully that went after a bigger bully, and that's just how he lived his life. We also never got a resolution. Wanda's memories were changed, and that was it. She never regained her old memories back,
Yeah,
which I'm kind of slightly bothered by. I was waiting for her to get her memories back, but that moment with her and Pietro, he's just like, yeah, he's not the kind and loving father that he is.
Yeah, no.
What I liked about it was that Avalanche, everyone was helping everybody by accident, except Avalanche. I feel like Avalanche was doing it all on purpose. Like the old lady, he could have just left there, but he picked her up and took her.
Yeah.
Even that last thing they tried to pull, where oh, that train's going to collide into the other and they're going to explode, and they're all like, well, fuck this, we're out.
Don't mind me, I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please.
And he stayed, and he actually ended up saving the day. So
Yeah.
I think Kitty's influence got to him.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could kind of see at the end, you can kind of interpret it that they're together because she had her arm locked around him.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be ambiguous, I feel like.
Huh?
I feel like that was supposed to be ambiguous.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of can, but at least from where we saw Lance at the beginning, who was stealing test answers just to make a couple of money here and there, who grew up in a foster home, to maybe not doing good for the right reasons at first, but by that point in season 4, he was doing good because it felt right to him.
Yeah.
And that I think it always felt right to him by season 4. It's just that end of the episode. It's like, guys, who wants to go fight Magneto? And they're like, oh, hell no.
No, they just don't care.
Well, not that they don't care, but they are probably very aware of, oh, we're going to lose if we try to fight Magneto.
Yeah, no.
But I will say this. I was curious again how I would feel about seeing Wanda and Pietro in this form.
Yeah.
I think I do like it better in the MCU.
Oh yeah.
So far.
Well, that's just a given.
Not that this Wanda was bad per se. I just wish they did more with her.
I feel like in some ways they took some inspiration from this a little bit in a weird way.
I'm glad they didn't keep the goth design though.
Oh yeah, no, the goth design absolutely.
I like how they have Wanda in the MCU right now. We don't know if she's alive or not, but
yeah,
she might be one of those people
that just pops up out of nowhere eventually, like how Captain America pops up in Infinity Wars. It's like, oh hey, I'm here. You know what I mean?
Also, that's actually funny. Now that you segmented into that, Captain America was in for an episode.
Yeah, that whole continuity.
We had S.H.I.E.L.D., we had Hydra.
Yep.
We had X-23.
Yep.
That I think appeared in the X-Men 2.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I was not well. I mean, I admit I don't think I saw those episodes when I watched them as a kid, but watching them now with the context that I have, it's like, huh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know the MCU is different from
a lot of
the comics and TV shows and stuff like that, but I didn't realize it would still be S.H.I.E.L.D. at the time.
Yeah.
So I was thinking it'd probably turn to S.W.O.R.D. by this point, but I guess it's just S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts overall, I guess?
I think overall it was a good little TV series that I feel like the last season felt rushed, but overall the experience was great.
Sadly, I wanted more.
I feel that. I wanted more, but
Yeah, I know. It ended in 2003, so that's like
10 years. No, 20 years.
Yeah, I was about to say, hold up.
Don't. I swear to God.
Hold up.
I swear to God. If you put that in the blooper reel, I'm going to cry.
It might just stay in for the episode.
No, don't you dare.
20 years ago. That's insane. Yeah, there's no way we could have told the people from 20 years ago, hey, we actually do want more of this. Us adults here that are watching this on Disney Plus, we want more of this. Because they showed off like what the future was going to look like for them.
And some of that I actually understood from context-wise. I know that eventually Jean kind of loses some... I don't remember the specifics, but...
She turns to the Phoenix.
She turns into the Phoenix, so...
Yeah, they reference that. As like Charles was like, I looked into the future, and I saw this. And I saw this.
And I saw that.
And I saw that. And it's just like, that's what gets to me. They took the time to animate it. I feel like they really
I feel like they were...
They probably did have it planned, but then... Because kids' cartoons are weird, because sometimes they could just be canceled without any warning. Like, it's not like anime where they're like, oh, we'll sign on for 12 episodes. And then you make it work within there.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll sign up on 24 episodes. Okay, you're getting renewed for season 2. Sometimes they could just be like, well, that's it. You're not getting any more. This is your last batch. Do something with it.
Yeah.
It's kind of why Legend of Korra kind of spiraled down, because they were only signed on for one season of Korra.
Yeah.
But then they were just like, well, you guys, here you go. 3 more seasons. Go ahead and make more.
Yep.
And then just last season kind of just fell apart.
I feel like that happens with a lot of cartoons. It's not just X-Men or Korra or any of that. I think a lot of cartoons and a lot of shows in general fall into this trap where once they get the ball rolling, they have a hard time sticking the landing. And specifically in this case, there was probably some sort of like contract or something along those lines that say, hey, we'll only give you another 9 episodes to make this work, so have fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's hard to keep kids' attention.
Yeah, and that's another thing too.
But I mean, at least it had an ending. I could say
At least I was concerned that it was not going to have an ending.
I
I was honestly concerned, especially toward the last episode. I'm like, oh, they're not going to finish this. And it's like, oh, they did finish it, but it's just rushed.
Yeah, it was pretty rushed, but I do believe was probably because of constraints like that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely glad I rewatched it again. There is some good stuff. It could have been a more emotional show, and I wanted it to be a more emotional show. But again, it's a kid's cartoon, so we're not really going to see that much emotion. I mean, we got stuff. It's not like you get nothing out of it. It's just like sometimes you have to kind of use your own interpretation to think how hard it could be for that character, what they could have gone through for that moment to make them process in your mind what you think was going on in their mind when it was all happening. But I was happy to rewatch this again. I probably would rewatch it again if someone else wanted to. Probably not anytime soon. I kind of am bummed that it ended like that because I could have gone for more episodes. But I know that was 20 years ago. There's no way we could tell those people, make more, make more, make more, make more.
I don't think I'd go that far, but I don't know. To me, it was a product of its time, obviously.
What do you mean by that?
It's just what you see is what you get, pretty much.
Yeah, you can't. I guess back in those days, it was hard to go really deep because I know we have stuff like I've never seen all of Adventure Time or Steven Universe, but I know those shows can be pretty emotional.
Yeah.
I know it's just, again, like he said, it is kind of a product of the time where I think it was because I don't want to say it was like the 80s or the 90s where they were just making the cartoons to sell product. I think they were leaping away from that.
Yeah.
Making something not just to sell products, but because they had a story to tell.
Yeah.
I at least give some cartoons credit these days that at least when they make them, they're trying to tell something. And some of those I should watch, but haven't had a chance to watch.
Yeah.
But I would recommend this if you're an X-Men fan, if you're a Marvel fan, if you're sort of into more character stories than the action. If you like American cartoons, this one will do it for you. If you're not really that interested in superheroes or the MCU or all that, I don't know if it's going to do much for you, but I'd say it's worth at least watching, at least
a little bit of it. Yeah,
at least get to halfway through season 2 before deciding if it's something you want to
see, that's kind of the problem with the show, admittedly. If I had to sit there and tell somebody about this, it only gets better at season 2. Again, this is why I said that if I felt like they were playing it too safe in season 1, but I'm not going to keep beating over the dead horse here.
So, would you recommend this to anybody?
I feel like anybody who's into the MCU currently, if you want a different take on the X-Men, then by all means watch it. But just go in with the mindset of knowing that the last couple episodes are going to feel especially rushed. Season 1 is going to just feel bland a bit, but I have to flip this in a weird and awkward way. It's like a sandwich. You're not in it for the bottom and the top layer of the bread. You're in for all the juicy bits in the middle.
Or like the cream part of the Oreo cookie.
Yes, exactly.
There we go. We got the reference. Are you thinking sandwiches because of Pokemon?
Yes.
He's thinking about hatching them eggs with that great peanut butter sandwich or something.
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't done a whole lot of that yet.
Whatever.
But yeah, this was our opinion on X-Men Evolution. Let us know what you guys think in the comments section.
And then let us know, well, I guess it'd be hard to get suggestions, but I guess if you want to throw some suggestions out there and then we can say if we've seen it before and the other person hasn't seen it before, maybe we can work something out. But I think next time it's going to be Aldnoah's turn to pick something.
Yeah. And it probably won't take us this long to actually get through it, actually, I don't feel like. But we'll see how things play out. I haven't decided what I want her to sit through yet.
And I'm kind of nervous about what he wants me to sit through first. I have no idea what he's planning for me.
I have not figured it out yet, but we'll get there when we get there.
All right, but until the next episode, guys, MIrrorcard Neko.
And I'll know it.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.